Warm greetings everyone. Here's a review of Nepal's accession to the World Trade Organization, a case study of issues relevant to the least developed countries. Nepal became a member of WTO through the negotiation process on 23 April 2004 and became the first LDC to accede to the WTO. As the first LDC member of WTO, Nepal has a number of lessons to share, especially with other LDCs. Nepal's accession package is considered relatively well balanced in terms of both offering a credible signal to traders and foreign investors and maintaining the policy space required to protect its development interests. As an accession process to the WTO, members are required to make commitments on legal and institutional structures, domestic policies and subsidies, product standards, investment, regulations on trade and services, protection of intellectual property rights, and transparency, among others. Acceding countries are obliged to accept rules as a single undertaking, that is, they have to accept the WTO legal code as a complete package. WTO also permits an existing member to invoke the provision of non-application of WTO agreements against an acceding country. Let's look at the benefits of joining WTO. The direct benefits include non-discrimination, predictability and stability of the trading environment, increased market access and the opportunity to participate in multilateral trade rulemaking and standard setting. And indirectly, WTO members may send credible signals about a country's commitment to globally accepted economic norms, thereby attracting foreign investments. However, many of the benefits are intangible and accrue over time. Nepal's accession into the WTO was not easy, and following negotiation issues were encountered. The evolving complexity and prolonged duration of the accession period. Because of a momentous political change, which was the reinstatement of democracy after 30 years, Nepal had to assess its institutional and infrastructural capacity to comply with WTO negotiations. Access for foreign services into the Nepali market. Concessions offered to Nepal was more restrictive than the concessions offered to the original WTO members, as well as the guidelines for LDC's accession. Access for foreign services into the Nepali market. Nepal was asked to undertake commitments on almost all service sectors. However, it opened up 11 major sectors and 77 subsectors. The application of special and differential treatment. Even though all the provisions of special and differential treatment for LDCs are automatic, developed country members were of the view that they are not automatic and have to be negotiated. Other negotiating issues, which include the WTO plus conditions and the WTO minus conditions. The WTO plus conditions include judicial review, commitment on information technology, policies regarding internal taxes and tariffs, membership of the International Union for the Protection of New Varieties of Plants and transparency. The WTO minus conditions include other duties and charges, trade-related investment measures, export subsidies, import licensing procedures, and balance of payments, safeguards, and transition period. What were the objectives and the results obtained through this accession? The objectives were to liberalize those service sectors in which the Nepali private sector is unlikely to get involved in, example, pipeline transportation. The Nepali private sector is already competitive and is confident that it would be able to outperform foreign service suppliers even if the sector is liberalized, example, banking sector, and sectors where the employment potential for locals is high, example, computer and related services. Inconsistent with the objectives were the results achieved. Nepal maintained policy space while making a commitment to bind tariffs, liberalize services, and follow the WTO discipline on intellectual property rights and subsidies. Services were liberalized while keeping the development priorities at the forefront. Following were the notable aspects of Nepal's preparations for negotiations, accession, and membership. External support from organizations like UNDP. Mobilization of diplomatic capital by intensifying meetings with the capital-based diplomatic missions of major trading nations. National consultations by involving other ministries and various other government agencies. Post-accession implementation of commitments, where legislation and regulations were enacted or amended in various stages. Every member country has to make commitments to the WTO. Nepal's commitments in a comparative perspective are: bound level of tariffs. Compared to other LDCs, Nepal was successful in keeping bound tariffs at relatively high rates. Service commitments. overall commitment of Nepal is 10 times higher than that of Bangladesh. Transition period. Nepal asked for a transition period to implement the rules and regulations of WTO in a proper manner. Technical assistance. In contrast with other acceding countries, Nepal secured an implicit pledge of technical assistance to implement its commitments. As the first LDC member of the WTO, various lessons can be learned from Nepal's negotiations and accession. The lessons are: use of the LDC platform to facilitate collective bargaining, pursuit of tailored technical assistance, preferably through a multilateral agency, establishment of a formal institutionalized mechanism for consultation, regular monitoring of the implementation of commitments made at the time of acceding to the WTO, and commitment to sustained trade reforms.